in Central Park, one of New York City's most iconic places. Now, this place is larger than the country of Monaco, and it also has its amazing share of things to see and do, and all of that is absolutely phenomenal. But what's also interesting to us is that this park has its share of really dark and mysterious places. Welcome to Belvedere Castle. Designed in 1865 as a Victorian folly, and the word folly there does not mean something wrong, it actually means an attraction to the eyes. This castle was designed to be a place that takes you away from your everyday surroundings into something, something different, a place that's more fantasy. This castle absolutely does that, and it has attracted visitors over time, who've come here to have that fantasy experience. But here's where the story gets a little weird. One of the visitors who came to this castle actually never left. There is a story about a ghost that lives in Belvedere Castle. Who she is still a mystery, but there are two prevailing stories of who she is. One is that soon after the castle was open to the public, she is one of the persons that came to the castle and fell off the roof. The other story is a little darker. The second story is about a young woman who came to the castle soon after she got engaged to this guy who absolutely was in love with her, but he was in love with her to the point of absolute, sort of unhealthy obsession. And what happened is that when they were up on the roof, she just smiled at a passerby. And because he got so enraged, he pushed her off the roof. Whether either one of those stories is actually true or not is a matter of debate. But what is known is that the ghost of the young lady seen in Belvedere Castle is someone who apparently wears clothes that are from the 1800s. And she's always seen walking around either by the entrance of Belvedere Castle or in the castle proper, looking for something. What she's looking for, absolutely no one knows. But she's always got this full-on look like she's looking for something. And you know what? She's not the only person looking for something around Central Park. Another really interesting story in the park is about one of the people who actually designed this park. His name is Calvert Vaux, a British architect who helped Olmsted design the entire park. Now, although Olmsted is the name that everybody knows and is famous for designing this park, because Frederick Olmsted actually designed the expanse of the park, whereas Vaux designed all the architectural buildings and structures around the park. He also designed most of the bridges and most of the arches and things that you see that beautify the park. Now, the jewel in Vaux's crown is the place that we are in right now. This is Bethesda Terrace. Bethesda Terrace is one of the most famous landmarks in Central Park. Countless movies and TV shows have been shot in and around this place. And anyone who knows New York City knows that this is one of the places you want to come and take photographs, right? But the story of Vaux gets really, really interesting further down, long after he retired from building this park and other structures that he built. During his retirement, Vaux wrote what is known as the Central Park Papers. It is a letter in which he claims to have hidden something of great significance somewhere in this park. And what he says is that the thing that was hidden is so significant that if revealed to the wrong person, it could be really dangerous, right? So what he said is that he wanted the treasure or whatever he hid only found in 1965. Mind you, he wrote the letter in 1835. And so he wanted people to wait till 1965 before they could go and find whatever it is. And once they found it, he then wanted them to wait for a further 10 years before they could share their discovery with the world. So whatever it was, definitely had Vaux concerned. Now, Vox died the same year as he penned the Central Park Papers. And what's really strange is that before Vox died, he claimed that he was scared for his life because of penning the Central Park Papers. So, did Vox actually die because of the Central Park Papers? Is the Central Park Papers something that is so amazing and important? I guess the answers to those things we'll never ever know. Now, while Vox took his secret to the grave, our next duo seemed to have come back from the grave to spend more time in Central Park. The picturesque body of water behind me is a lake that is over 3.8 acres, and it's very simply called the pond. Now, the pond was put here by Olmsted and Vox to basically highlight the beauty of the fauna and the changing fauna, and let people get a sense of, how nature changes. But this body of water also provided New Yorkers with something that was unheard of at its time, which is an ice skating rink. Because the rivers never froze, so they had no chance for ice skating. But when this froze, it gave people the chance to go out and enjoy the sport. Now, back in between 1860 and 1870, the whole idea of ice skating was so cool, and it became so much of a fad, that the park actually engineered a system of flags that would allow people to know when the ice was ready to skate on. And even more than that, the trolleys that ran downtown had this big red ball on it that would tell people downtown that the ice is ready for them to come down and skate on the pond. Two of the people who absolutely fell in love with the sport were two sisters known as Janet and Rosetta, and they lived on the east side of the park with their really wealthy father called Mr. Vandervoort. Now, Mr. Vandervoort was absolutely the original helicopter parent. Like, he wouldn't let these girls out of his sight, and he would let them go nowhere by themselves, and he was all up in their business. But one of the only places that these two girls were allowed to go by themselves was this pond. They were allowed to come here during winter and ice skate by themselves. A little bit of freedom that they treasured with all their heart. But later on in life, they absolutely spurned everybody else and just grew old together, just the two sisters. And they would come down to the water and skate here right until they died. And here's where the story gets weird. Now, they died months apart from each other. And soon after they died, the first time somebody saw the two sisters skating on the water when it wasn't frozen. After that, going forward, the Vandervoort sisters became a common sight on the water during summer and winter, and lots of people have seen them skating here. Now, the idea may be that these two sisters enjoyed their freedom so much that it became something that tied them to this awesome body of water. At the end of the day, whether it is the Vandervoort sisters or you're looking for Vox's hidden treasure, Central Park has so much to offer and so much to see. And who knows, you might see something that nobody else can. For Urban Explorers, I'm Michael. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've enjoyed this episode, please smash that like button, subscribe, and share our videos with everyone around. Thank you. Stay safe.